you might have seen on our socials that we have bought something, it has grown significantly in last year or two. So what is the recipe behind that? So as soon as we get a client on board with a goal in mind, we first do a buyer's brief call with them and understand their needs and goals. So we just don't ask what are you wanting to do next. We want to understand what they are wanting to do, achieve next in next 5 to 10 years or more than that. Right. So before searching for property, we take time to understand our client goals. This helps us guide them better and formulate the best strategy to achieve their desired outcome. So buyer's brief call, as I've discussed, we discuss goals, we discuss budget, we discuss various other aspects of the purchase. And we also find out about their preference on the location and the attributes of the property that they are seeking. And we guide them on the best options based on their goals. After our buyer's brief call, we do the region recommendation. So based on their requirements and goals, with our expertise, we recommend the best region or the markets that they ideally should be investing in. This is property sourcing. So now we have narrowed down to the location, then we have recommended them the best suburbs to be investing in. We do start with sourcing. So we source off-market properties, pre-market properties, and on-market opportunities. Right, so we use multiple sources to find these suitable properties. So pre-market deals are basically the deals like where the selling agency agreement has been signed with the seller, but the deal is yet to be launched onto the market. So every deal goes through a pre-market phase. It typically takes 1 to 3 weeks in that pre-market phase. So we buy a lot of deals in pre-market phase itself before it gets listed. The second category is off market. So these are the deals which have got no intention of going to the market for various reasons. So in many cases, the seller wants to save on their marketing cost and they are just being sold off market. So we source these category as well. Then we have got on market deals, which you usually see on real estate and domain. So we don't focus on how the deal is getting sourced. Our objective is always to get the best deal for our client, regardless of how it gets sourced. So we are looking at these 3 channels simultaneously. This is basically a screenshot of our CRM on how we source these pre-market and off-market opportunities. So this is a screenshot from our CRM where we have got smart list maintained for all the regions that we are currently active in. So our admin staff basically creates for any new region that we get into, they create that smart list for us. So we might be like in this case, you can see that we are probably sending emails to 170 plus agents. In some cases, the list is as big as 400 and 500 agents. So we just send them a quick text saying that we have got a client with this specific requirement. If they've got anything, then they should be reaching out to us. In due diligence, what we do? We do the initial checks on the location and the future growth prospects. We do the flood checks, insurance checks, easement checks, bushfire checks, and the heritage overlay. And then if we check if the property matches the buyer's brief of the client. Then we organize the property inspections and make sure that it meets our quality standards. Then we do a fair price evaluation using the sold section of sales portals, and we don't heavily rely on RP data, price finder, CoreLogic that we keep hearing about. The reason is because in fast moving market in either ways, they can really be outdated. So from contract signing, so we do the negotiations with the agents to get the best price and the terms agreed. And then if we can't get them to agree on the price that we think is the fair price, we walk away from the deal. If the price and the terms are agreed, then we get to the contract signing stage where our conveyancer or the solicitor working for the client reviews the contract and then we get into the contract. Then there are more inspections lined up, building and pest inspections, the client applies for the finance. And then once the contract goes unconditional, which means once we have satisfied the finance and the building and pest and other conditions of the clause, then we try to get these properties listed online for rental before even they settle, so that we have got minimal vacancy after settlement. Then before settlement, we conduct pre-settlement checks and make sure that the property is exactly in the similar condition that we have bought it. And if there are any issues, then we raise it with the conveyancer and get it addressed. And then the property settle, happy days. So this is the overall workflow that we go through. So this is mostly for so it's the actual workflow that we go through. So it's a 2-page process workflow. But yeah, I've briefly touched upon on many of those aspects yet. Okay, so what have we achieved out of by following that workflow, right? So this is one of our client success. For this particular client who works in Macquarie Bank, he just has got his principal place of residence in Doonside, and we bought his investment property number 1 to property number 4 in 9 months. We bought 4 properties for him. His first property bought in Townsville 493. The capital growth in 15 months was 39.4%. So the current value was sitting at 687. The property number 2 was bought in January 2024, 515, current value sitting at this. So in 12 months, 42.7 capital growth. This one is in Perth and Huntingdale. And then we ended up buying 2 more properties for this guy. So in May 2024, we bought that property at 530. The current value is sitting at 635. And property number 4, again in Perth, in the northern part of Perth, very close to the ocean. This property was bought at 610. 770 is the current value. So the total equity that this guy has generated was $679,000, and this was 5 months after his last purchase. So the total tenure of investment in this capital growth was 14 months. 15 months, somewhere around that. So this is another client success. For this guy, we have bought this property. So he is coming on board for his second purchase with us now. So this guy, we have bought this property at 365. So it was 5,000 lower than the highest price. So he has got an offer of 370 from another friend of mine living in Ponds, and that's the reason why I knew it. So I knew this agent very well. So we were able to secure at 365. Its current value is sitting at 676, and in the time frame of 19 months. This client. This is another client. We bought this property again in Perth at 417. The current value is sitting at 698, and this is all has been achieved in 23 months.